I'm on the way back home from Tesco. I've got my shopping. And I just thought I would do another video with my thoughts on supermarkets. I've kind of come to the conclusion that most commercial supermarkets are, maybe this sounds a bit extreme, but are just one of the worst inventions, creations that human beings have ever come up with. I mean, you walk into one, right? And you just notice that the majority, first of all, there's many things wrong with it. First of all, the majority of products are just flat out really unhealthy. They're either full of sugar, they're full of chemicals, they're full of trans fats, or they're full of inflammatory oils. Then the other thing, aside from the damage that most of the products in the supermarket do to your health, everything is in plastic. And I really wonder why does everything need to be in plastic? Like, for example, meat. Okay, if you are going to sell meat, even though the meat industry in itself is rather, well, it's unnecessary and it's cruel when at the end of the day. But if you are going to sell meat, why can't people just go with their container that can be reused over and over? Obviously, it has to be washed, and just go to the butcher's counter, and the butcher puts the meat in the container and weighs it, and then you pay for it, and that's it. There's no need for all the plastic. And the same with fruits. Like, I managed to get grapefruits in loose, but they've got this stupid label on them. Like, why do we need the label? Like, why can't you just put it on the scales and just do it? Like, what's the need for this label? You know. And then I've got a cucumber and tomato. Ooh, police car. I got cucumber and tomato, and the tomato is in plastic. The cucumber's in plastic. None of it needs to be in plastic. You know. Am I able to cross here? So that's one of my thoughts on hold on, let me switch my bags over because my left arm is hurting. But yeah, there's no need for everything to be in plastic. We're just trashing the whole planet. And the other thing is, why? And I questioned this. I actually sent an email to customer service of Tesco, and I asked, why do they have to play music in supermarkets? And it's not just that they play music, it's that they tend to play really bad music, like really annoying. I mean, I guess whether something is annoying or not is a matter of perspective and perception and how reactive someone is to things that one could consider annoying. I mean, maybe there's no such thing as annoying according to Buddhism. It's just your reaction to it, whether you get annoyed. Nothing is annoying. At the same time, I don't know, for a while they were playing music that at least felt somewhat inspiring. But now, when I went today, and it seems to be short-lived when they do that, like it's all very, like, it's all that synthetic stuff with, you know, with the auto-tune, and everything's digitized, everything's soulless. I know, like, I don't really believe in a soul as such, but you know, it's just the way, first word that comes to mind is just soulless, manipulative, indoctrinating, degenerate music. And when I questioned why it has to be played, the response was, well, there were a few things. It was like first, three things he said. Firstly, he was like, I think it was a he, as I remember. First, he was like, oh, well, most retail outlets, retailers, that they play music. The second thing he said was, this is what most staff prefer because it boosts their morale during long shifts, and most customers prefer. I doubt whether they've actually checked that out and actually asked them whether they prefer that. And then the third thing was, you're welcome to come at quiet times, where we don't play music at the quiet times, which is like once a week on a Wednesday morning at 9 o'clock. Like, I'm not going to shop specifically at that time. Like, why can't they do it the other way around? Why can't they make the music time for people that feel that they need music, which I'm sure must be a minority? I would have thought it's pretty sad if it's not a minority, that most people need music to go shopping. Why can't it be the other way around? It's just like ridiculous. So those were the sort of three things he said back to me. And I mean, I did respond with what I just said now. I did actually say, actually I think my response was like, well, that's pretty sad. That's a pretty sad situation that the staff need music to boost their morale. I mean, is the job so soulless and meaningless and uninspiring that they have to listen to music? And I would have thought if you feel you're doing something worthwhile, then there will be enough passion and enthusiasm there with what you're doing. But I suppose most jobs are just a form of slavery, so they don't feel they're doing something worthwhile. So everyone nowadays, so I was in a job once where I kept turning the music off. We were in a van on the way to the work. We used to meet and get a van there because it was like a maintenance job. And one of the guys I worked alongside with, I always used to turn the music on really loud, and I used to kind of turn it down, and he would turn it on, and it was just, I left that job. It was annoying for other reasons as well, but it was like, he actually said, like, oh, it makes the day go faster. Like, why? Surely, like, our time on this planet is valuable. Why do you want it to go any faster? It just shows you that some people, they need a distraction. They need things to go fast. Why? Well, I know why. Because what people are doing generally is so meaningless. It is just a form of slavery, it's just a form of human slavery. So many jobs are just so pointless, like as if we even needed to be maintaining those gardens, like with the amount of petrol tools and all the pollution, and we used to use weed killer, so we're just killing life on earth, killing creatures. Just leave it. Who cares? Like, seriously, like who cares if, like, just leave it. Like, just let there be just wild gardens around, you know what I mean? Like, who cares? Like, that's not what's important. What's important is that there's no litter and there's no pollution. Just let nature take its thing. Okay, in your own private garden, you want to make it comfortable so you can use it or whatever. But I don't know, I just think it is a nice thing if you can do it, maybe as an extra, to maintain places. But like, we were maintaining places that were like, I don't know, like they were like drug infested, poverty stricken hellholes already. Like, focus on that, get that sorted, alleviate the poverty, and then if you've got extra money left, then sort out the gardens. But I'm thinking, like, if the people in there sort of got like one brain cell on active duty, which I would have thought at least some of them would do. I don't mean to be judgmental, but I would have thought they'd be looking, thinking, God, why can't they fix this place up before they spend money on, investing in maintenance? So like, everything's a swindle. I'm starting to realize everything's like a way for someone to get paid for something which is pretty much just pointless. And also, they wouldn't let them have cats in the social housing block, which I just think is ridiculous. Like, you're going to tolerate drugs and needles and poverty and all kinds of shit and mental health issues, but you won't allow someone to keep a cat? Seriously? Then again, maybe some of them just won't look after a cat properly. But I'm just thinking, like, I don't know, that's a bit of a side note, But yeah, it just seems like people just are doing things that are so meaningless, like they just want to be distracted, you know? Like, and why does staff need music? As I say, why does staff need music to go faster? Like, what happened to just like going somewhere and just shopping in quiet? Like, why are people so against quiet? I love quiet, I love peace and quiet. I just want to just go to a supermarket and do my shopping, and I just want quiet, you know? Aside from obviously people are going to be talking or whatever, but why do you need music, you know? It's just the most pointless thing. If people listen to music, they'll put it in their own headphones. That's what I said in the response. But I know what the real reason is. It's to distract the staff from the fact that they're getting exploited, the fact that they're getting shit money for a meaningless job that could probably be done by a robot, but they just want to keep people distracted, you know, and they just want to keep people enslaved, and the music is one of the ways that the world does it. So, you know, it could easily just get rid of so many of these jobs and just give people more free time, but we sort of insist on keeping people enslaved. When I say we, I mean just the powers that be in this world, the corrupt powers that be. But no, why do we need to do it? And you know, they have to be distracted to keep doing their job, and the customers sort of have to be distracted. Like, they want to keep the customers in there, but for me, it just drives me out. I want to get out as soon as possible when I listen to the crappy music they play. But you know, as I said, it's distracting and placating. You know, it boosts morale on a long shift. I mean, what are you doing? How much are you abusing your own staff that you need music playing the whole time to boost morale? Why is morale going down in the first place? Ask yourself that. Oh, I know, because maybe you're paying them crap money for a job that could be done by a robot with no room to maneuver to get any more money. That's why you need to distract them with music. And the same thing with the customers. You're distracting them from the fact that if they're silent, people would have the time to think, oh wait, everything is full of plastic that gets thrown away, and most of it isn't even recyclable. It pretends to be recyclable, most of it isn't, and it just sits somewhere and pollutes our planet and pollutes our waters and destroys our soil quality, and none of it needs to be in plastic. But just so the supermarkets can make even more money because of their greed, everything's got to be in plastic. So, you know, God forbid anyone should like take something without paying for it. So it's like, it's got to be just, you know, with the little label. It's like, oh, you've got to pay this much. It's like, oh, God forbid something can't just be weighed. And if it wasn't entirely accurate what someone paid, like, who gives a damn? Like, they're still making a fortune anyway. Like, seriously, like, how about a concept of people just paying what they feel it was worth? You know, then people get a fair deal. People just paying for it. Maybe that system probably wouldn't work, but, you know, like, yeah, what happened to just, you know, being able to just shop and it just not being a destructive experience for the planet and for the consumer, you know? So, yeah, that's my view on supermarkets, and just suppose the modern day capitalist system in general, which is just pretty screwed up. But yeah, everything is just plastic. Why does everything have to be in plastic? And why does everything have to be so shit quality? Like, it's so rare that you find anything organic in a supermarket. You know, everything is full of pesticides and antibiotics and God knows what. You know? So, I mean, that's ultimately, you know, if people had the time to quiet their mind, look around, you think, what kind of insanity here have we created? What happened to just a market that didn't destroy the planet? You go and you just pick what you want and wait and pay for it, you know? Or you trade it for something. Like, what happened to that? What happened to just I'm sure that existed at some point, just a market, and no plastic bags, nothing. You go, you take your reusable basket, your wooden basket or whatever you've got that you can reuse time and time again, and you just put it in the bag. And the fruit is loose, the meat is loose, the fish is loose, everything is just loose. Nothing is in plastic, nothing. None of it needs to be in plastic. None of it. And I've witnessed that. None of it needs to be in plastic, because I lived for a while on a kibbutz for a couple of months, and I saw how they did things, and everything got composted. Nothing got put in a bin with a liner. Everything got composted. Everything got properly recycled. I mean, I'm not saying they did things perfectly, but they didn't. Everyone ate together in the dining room, and it was like, if they had meat, it was from the cows that were on the kibbutz. So the cows were slaughtered, which I don't like the idea of, but even so, the cows were slaughtered, and then nothing was wrapped in plastic, and nothing was fed antibiotics as far as I know. Just transported. Everything was local. Everything was to hand. But I mean, maybe that can be destructive in itself, because I think they did farm fish, which is pretty destructive. But maybe there is no solution for human beings that is sustainable. Maybe we just have too many people on the planet. I don't know what the solution is for that. Maybe we all just need to stop having kids. But I don't even think that's a solution. It's not just that we're having kids. I think we could still have kids. I don't think that's a problem. But I think that it's the way we live. It's the greed, and it's the detachment from nature. We don't seem to respect the planet that we live on and honor it, and really think about how it's what keeps us alive. Why do we want to pollute the air that we breathe and the water that we drink, and the land that we grow our food on? Why do we want to pollute it? And maybe we should all just stop distracting ourselves with music and celebrities and all the other rubbish that we're fed from the global elite. Everything we're fed by them in the form of food or sound or sights or even smells. Walk into a perfume shop, everything we're fed by them is a means of them distracting us, indoctrinating us, turning us into just degenerate zombie slaves to a system which is just destroying our planet. It has to stop. It has to stop one day. I really believe that it has to just end. And if we don't choose to end it, it will end us. We will be our own worst enemy. We will be victims of our own self-destructive behaviors. We will be victims of our own environmentally inhumane ways. Our environmental destruction. We will be our own victims to ourselves. We will eat ourselves, possibly even literally. There may even come to a point where people will start eating each other. Cannibalism may be a thing in the future if we destroy the land to the point where nothing will grow. I'm sure this is all a long way off. It probably won't happen in my lifetime, but who's to say that we won't be reborn in the future, and we won't have to face our karma, face the way that we've poisoned the planet, and how we've just set up the world for destruction with all the weapons that we've created, all the wars that we're engaged in, all the ways that we just destroy each other. For what? I don't know. For greed, for prejudice, for make everyone hate each other so we don't realize who the real threat is, which is our own governments. Why? It doesn't need to be like this, it just doesn't. It's not worth it for the products that we get, no matter how great we think the products we get are, at the cost of destroying our home that belongs to all of us for only a short period of time. It's kind of like, we get to live here for a while. We're just guests on this planet. But even so, even if you're just a guest on the planet, why destroy it for the sake of some shiny products? Why destroy it for the sake of some animal protein, or the sake of destroying ocean life, destroying coral life, for the sake of getting from A to B quicker? Got to pollute the whole planet. Why distract ourselves with video games? Why distract ourselves with music? Why distract ourselves with even pursuing sex, or even pursuing a partner, or even pursuing having a family? All of these things, at the end of the day, despite I have children myself and I love them to bits and I love my wife to bits, but would I recommend that people pursue that? No, I wouldn't, because it's destroying the planet, I would say, because the way we've set up the world is that, if you wanna have children, then you need resources, and you need to take resources from somewhere. You need to get resources from somewhere, and you're just contributing to pollution and the destruction of the planet, and you're almost more enslaved, actually, when you have a wife and children, because you require more from people. You're at their mercy more. When you're just by yourself and you have no interest in attracting anyone else, and you have no interest in accumulating any more resources to provide for anyone else or any children, you're less enslaved, because that's why they want people to have children. That's why they fund even IVF, and they encourage it, and they encourage it. That's why one of the reasons they encourage it. They want double the tax money. They want people, they know that people will do anything for their kids, People will take out mortgages for their kids. People will buy all sorts of products that they can't really afford for their kids. So yeah, when we have kids, most of us, I love them to bits, don't get me wrong, and I love my wife too, but we are more enslaved to the government, to the powers that be. We're more enslaved because we're not going to let our kids starve. Do you know what I mean? Maybe we would let ourselves starve. Maybe we would check out of the system and just be like, I'm not being part of this world anymore. I'm not going to, I'm not contributing to all of the bullshit. So I don't care whether I starve, but when your kids are involved, people compromise themselves for their kids. People compromise themselves for their families. That's what the mafia is about. The mafia, if none of them had wives and kids, I don't know, would they go down that road of greed just for themselves? If they had no interest in sex, no interest in attracting women, no interest in having children, really? I don't know. I've never heard of really a celibate, childless person ever pursuing, going down a road of greed. Those two things seem to be kind of inextricably linked. The pursuit of sex and reproduction seems to be very tied, from what I can see, to the accumulation of resources, because it's very hard to have one without the other. So people fight for resources. They pretty much kill each other for resources. For what? So they get to reproduce. Doesn't seem worth it to me. As I said, I have no regrets. I love my kids to bits. But would I recommend people to seek a partner or children? No, I mean, if it happens, and you fall in love with that person, fine, but don't seek it out. Because in order to seek that out, and in order to provide, you're just more enslaved. You just need even more. Kids are expensive. Wives are expensive. You just need even more, which makes you even more of a slave. You're just at the mercy of employers. You're at the mercy of the government. If you're on social security or benefits, you're just at mercy. You're at someone else's mercy. As a single person with no children, with no interest in pursuing reproduction, pursuing a partner, pursuing a one-night stand, whatever it is, you are far less enslaved. You may initially, if you're not used to that, be somewhat sexually frustrated. But in the end, if you meditate daily, you get used to it, and then you're less of a slave. And then in the end, maybe you can go and become a Theravada Buddhist monk and just leave the world behind and live in a monastery. And that way you're free. Yeah, you're dependent on people to feed you every day, but you don't. In the end, you give up caring, I suppose, whether you starve, because you're ready to die at any point. So, if they give you, I suppose they reap the rewards of good karma for giving you food as a Theravada Buddhist monk who is hopefully benefiting the community. And if they don't, well then you get to check out of this world. You starve. If you're homeless, you're homeless. You stop caring because you're ready to go at any time, because you've purified your mind. So you're happy to go. So anyway, those are my thoughts for today. I'm almost home, so I'm going to get inside my house and wish everyone a good evening. And I will see you soon. Thank you.